and a hush comes over the crowd. Good morning. My name is Kathleen Willis, Superintendent of Schools here in North Reading, and I am thrilled to welcome you this morning to the groundbreaking ceremony. So I'd like to welcome our distinguished guests, students, families, faculty, administrators, they're all in the back, both present and retired. I see some retired administrators here as well, and of course, the citizens of North Reading. Today we celebrate the groundbreaking for the high school, middle school building project. We will hear a few words from our speakers, listen to a wonderful musical selection sung by our middle school students, and witness the groundbreaking by 12 representatives of the student body. This day symbolizes new beginnings for North Reading. So let us begin with a rendition of the national anthem by one of our senior students, Janelle Yule. Janelle?
So gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
She is wonderful, and last night she was one of the stars in our high school play, Lettuce and Lovage, and she'll be there tonight as well. Thank you so much, Janelle. And so let's begin. At this point, I would like to introduce Mr. Chuck Carucci, who is the chairperson of the Secondary School Building Committee. Chuck?
I thank you all for attending this morning. It's kind of a little brisk day, but it's better than it was last night, that downpour. Before I begin, I'd like to introduce a few people who made this program come together. And who we have here today is Mr. Jack McCarthy from the state, from the MSBA. I don't know who the star is. Representative Brad Jones. Former superintendent who really got us going on this, Dave Troughton. I don't know if Keith Manville is here or not. Keith, are you? Oh, there he is. You want to do a Keith, superintendent, who helped us get this going also. Also, I would like to introduce the Secondary School Building Committee. If they're here, either raise your hand or do a flip up at the front here to let them know who you are. Show my list.
It's in the program.
All right. Somebody stole my list. Greg Belconis, who's the town administrator. John Bernard, high school superintendent. Jeff Bowles, member of the community. Bill Dardino. Sean Delaney, chairman of the selectmen. Ray Vogel. Wayne Hardecker. Dean Embriano. Ron Keller. Helen Maynard. Ian McGinnis. Steve Nathan. Catherine O'Connell. is Laura Witz, who's been with this program for 12 years. We're trying to put this together for 12 years. So she's been with it. Also, I'd like to thank the school committee for giving their trust into us for putting this project together. We've been at this for 7 years, and it's been trying times for those 7 years, but we finally got it off the ground. We're going to put a shovel in the ground this morning. And I thank you for listening to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now I would like to introduce our representative, who is the Massachusetts House Minority Leader, Representative Bradley Jones, Jr.
Mr. Nicholas, come over here. Out front and center, right here. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Well, we've heard Lori Witz being on the committee for working on this for 12 years. Chuck's been at this for, 7 years. This is living proof that good things come to those who wait. I'm here with Nicholas because this is also a testament to what one generation works towards for the next. This is a great day for North Reading. It is a project that represents how a community chooses to define itself, both not only to itself but to its neighbors. This building is going to be these buildings are going to be a living legacy of one generation to the next that will define our community and our commitment to our children for decades to come. So even though it's been a long, arduous process in the making, and I'm pretty sure there'll probably be a few more hurdles to cross before it's all done, like I said, good things come to those who wait. And we want to thank also the community that came forward and is making a sacrifice. This is not going to be a free project, but it is a worthwhile project. It is a necessary project. And this has always been a community that has stepped forward and met the need when it sees needed and worthwhile projects, even though that represents a financial sacrifice. Nicholas, turn around, you're on camera. You know, you gotta learn. Thank you. I know, teaching me, we gotta stand back here. You didn't give them the blocking box. So, as someone who has had the very, very personal good fortune of going through the North Reading school system and hopefully having come out right. I'll say correct, I won't say right in this political season. We don't want to segue there. This is a great day for the North Reading community, and I want to thank all those involved. Chuck has touched on some of them, and there are so many more that the list is too long. But thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for the opportunity for me to contribute back to a community that I love so much for future generations. Thank you.
I do see Senator Tarr walking up the drive, so we're going to hold on, and we're now going to introduce Mr. Jack McCarthy, who is the Executive Director of the Massachusetts School Building Authority. Mr. McCarthy?
Pick up the pace, Bruce, will you? Come on, we're waiting for you. Thank you for inviting me here on behalf of the MSBA and my chairman, Treasurer Steve Grossman, who unfortunately could not make it today. He's actually ill, but he sends his best wishes and congratulations. I'm hooked on that show, The Voice. I don't know if you guys know that show, but where's Janelle? Janelle, if I was one of those judges, I definitely would have pushed my button and turned my chair around. The mission of the Mass School Building Authority is to partner with Massachusetts communities to promote the design and construction of educationally appropriate, sustainable, and flexible public school facilities. And this project certainly meets that ideal. You know, we're fixing two problems with one project, and that's the efficiency that is not often seen in state government, but it's seen a lot at the MSBA, I'm proud to say. But, you know, these things don't happen by themselves. Senator Tarr, who I feel close enough to kid with like that, and Brad Jones, your representative, you have an unbelievable delegation that's representing you on Beacon Hill. They were fine advocates for the MSBA in its inception in 2004. But on the projects that are in their districts, they are tirelessly bugging me to make sure that we get these things done. And I thank them both for their leadership on this. I go all over the state, and I really get a great feeling when I come to communities like North Reading, where it's so obvious that the town government side and the school side works together for projects, and those are the towns that are successful. When you have, Greg working well with Kathy, Sean working well with Mel, and then they get Chuck here to run the whole thing. And you're very, very fortunate to have both sides of government working well together like that. So I thank all of you for your leadership on that behalf as well. And one of the things I always look for is, how do they pick their professionals? And you guys really put together an all-star team of your owner's project manager, PMA Construction Services, Doran Whittier Associates is your designer, and Gilbane Contractors is the CM. And they will do a great job for you, I promise. I've seen them on other projects, and they always come through. Every project has challenges, and the people that you want to partner with are the people that can solve problems, and this is a group that can do that. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention some of the folks at the MSBA who worked on this project. Carolyn Walsh was your field coordinator. If you didn't enjoy working with Carolyn, there's something wrong with you. Brad Egan, project manager, one of the most extreme professionals in our place, and Mike Smith is your construction manager who you're working with right now, and he is an excellent construction manager. One of the things that amazes me on these projects is when people go to the polls and vote to raise their own taxes. And that's just an unbelievable thing. And so, students, I hope you appreciate that these folks went out and said, I believe in these students, the students that are currently here, the future students. I believe in them enough to go and raise my taxes. And so it's going to cost me, for the next probably 20 years, I assume, is the debt exclusion. 25? Okay. So you guys will be participating in that. That's great. But, think about that every once in a while. And so can I just ask any students to stand up, current or future, for the middle high, and just turn to these folks and just say thank you. Thank you. All right, thanks. All right, so thank you for allowing me to be here. I can't wait to come back and cut the ribbon for the new home of the Hornets.
And now I'm very pleased to introduce to you our senator, who is the Mass Senate Minority Leader, Senator Bruce Tarr. Senator.
Thank you very much and good morning. It is true that I had a long walk down the driveway, but that's because I know that Jack is a fan of The Voice and I thought he might sing, and I wanted to be a safe distance away before that happened. But what Jack does do extraordinarily well on behalf of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is make sure that we make the right investments for the kind of schools that our students deserve. And he and his entire team at the MSBA deserve our thanks and our applause for making this investment in North Reading to get the right school in the right place at the right time. And we should give him another round of applause. And so too it is for our state representative, my legislative partner and colleague Brad Jones, who has been a tireless advocate for this program, and not only the MSBA in general, but for this particular configuration of schools, to make sure that we advocated for something that perhaps was a little bit out of the box. But that's what it takes to do the right thing sometimes, is to be out of the box and to listen to the people that you hope to serve with this school and to get it right. And that's what brought us to this day. That planning, that dialogue, that discussion that seemed for a while like it may never end. But the right decisions to get the right school configuration and to make this investment. And the difficult decision at town meeting. It's always difficult to spend this kind of money. But for me, more than anything else, those votes were an affirmation of the belief of this community in itself, of the fact that we care about our kids, that we want them to have a great learning environment to match the great teaching professionals and staff that are in that building, and the fact now look forward to the future and say we are going to have the schools that our kids deserve. We are going to have that learning environment that is safe and clean and sound, so that the teachers can ignite that spark of lifelong learning that won't only pay dividends in the lives of those students, they'll pay dividends in all of our lives as the learning continues, the prosperity goes on, and we look forward to the day when people stood tall, they thought out of the box, they took out the pen more than once to design and redesign, and stood up in one voice in this town and said, we believe in our schools and we'll invest in them. It was an honor to be part of this process, and with Brad to go to the state government and to say North Reading is going to invest in itself, you should too. That's what it's all about. In an era when we hear a lot about division and discord and conflict and confrontation, this day is about unity and cooperation and collaboration. Most of all, it's about the fact that we can all still work together to do the right thing for our kids and future generations. And that indeed is something to celebrate. Thank you all very much. It's an honor.
And now we are going to be treated to a musical rendition of I Was Here, led by choral director Carla Lister, and our middle school chorus will be singing the song.
I'll believe in my
students. Thank you, Mrs. Lister. And now I'm very proud to introduce to you the chairperson of the Board of Selectmen for North Reading, Mr. Sean Delaney. Sean.
Thank you, Kathy. Good morning, everyone. As I listen to the 6th grade chorus, it reminds me when I was in 6th grade and I had a 6th grade teacher that told me to lip sync. Those of you that are probably about my age know who Milli Vanilli was. I was actually the original one cast member of Milli Vanilli. But because I didn't sing like this chorus sang to you today. Welcome, everyone. There's a lot of people that need to be thanked. First, I'll begin with Representative Jones and Senator Tarr, who have started us on the path and allowed us to navigate through the state process, as well as Jack McCarthy and all the people at MSBA who are our partners in this project, both in the construction phase, but most importantly, in the financial phase. Without MSBA and their process, this project would probably be unaffordable for this town and any other town in the state of Massachusetts. So, Jack, to you and to all the people at MSBA, thank you. But the most important thank you goes to you, the community of North Reading, who really stepped up to the plate in January at a special town meeting, and then again in March at a special election. When you went to that voting booth and you selected yes for this project, you reached into your pocket, as you've heard, for 25 years. That's because you all value education. And that's why back in 1999, when my wife Cheryl and I chose North Reading, we chose North Reading for that particular reason. And the vote in January and the vote in March solidified my belief that North Reading is the best community to raise a family. And that's why our children go to go to North Reading school system, because of the value that's placed on education here in North Reading. So on behalf of the community, I thank you, the citizens and voters who came out in January and March to overwhelmingly support this project. Thank you. I also wish to thank my fellow members on the Secondary School Building Committee. Not only the elected officials and the school administrators, more importantly, those citizens volunteers that, as you've heard, have dedicated years, hours of their time away from their family, because they too put an extreme value on education. They have brought forward their passion, their dedication, their expertise to our committee. And most importantly, what they have done, they've selected the professionals on this project. You have heard, it's Nora and Whittier, the architects, PMA, the project manager, and Gilbane, who will be the construction managers. Those are the professionals that have been brought in on this project, who the Secondary School Building Committee has placed their faith and trust to bring this project in on time and on budget, so that the students that you see here today and the generations of students to come will be able to compete not only nationally but internationally with any student in any place in the world. So I thank the Secondary School Building Committee and everyone who's had a hand in this particular project. I look forward to the buildings that will be constructed. The high school is expected to open September of 14, the renovated middle school September of 15, and for those buildings to be filled with generations of students who will excel to the highest level, and for the teachers who will be able to teach in the 21st century with a school that will be constructed on this site. Thank you again.
And now I'd like to introduce our town administrator and one of my partners in government in this town of North Reading, Mr. Greg Valuconis.
Good morning, everyone. I think it's interesting that as Sean finished his speech, the sun came out, and it gives us reason to think about how truly fortunate we are with the events of this past week to be where we are. And it certainly lends a great perspective to us here to realize that North Reading is unique and has reason to celebrate. And this really is a celebration as you look at what's been accomplished in this community, as the other speakers have touched upon. there are far too few things that we celebrate in this world. And as a community, there are even fewer things that we have an opportunity to celebrate. This is a day to celebrate. This is a day to remember. And when you look at this community, what do we celebrate? We celebrate graduations. We celebrate the success of our sports teams. We celebrate the success of projects like this with a groundbreaking, and hopefully not too far down the road, a ribbon cutting, and I hope the same people are here for that. But what is the central theme in all of those celebrations? Those little people over there, our kids, are the reasons why we're here and the reasons why we're celebrating. And I'm struck that with all of the tragedy that's going on, that we have an opportunity to have a happy day, to see the sunshine on our faces and enjoy what is uniquely North Reading. This is a great town. I love this community. I think you all love this community. It's very different and it's very unique. And sometimes being unique is good. And this is one of the instances where truly being unique is one of the things that sets us apart from the crowd. I want to thank the members of the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Committee, and the School Committee. I know they're too modest to stand up here and want to be thanked for the work that they do. But those are your volunteers. And I look in the crowd here and I see members of the school, former school committee members, former members of the Board of Selectmen, members of the Finance Committee. Those are the people who are up until midnight, agonizing, struggling to make critical leadership decisions. I can't tell you what a difficult, thankless job that is. My job is easy. This is my career. But these are people who stand up for election and they take the good with the bad. And this is an opportunity to say thank you to those people who did some good for us. So I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for doing a great job. I just want to conclude by saying thank you for giving me the privilege to be in North Reading. Thank you very much for being here today. One of the things that strikes me as I look out in the audience is that former Superintendent Troughton is here. And I do want to say that retirement must be the finding of the fountain of youth because you look great. Thank you very much.
And our final speaker is Mr. Mel Webster, who is the chairperson of the North Reading School Committee. Mr. Webster?
I really appreciate the superintendent placing me last in the order. Everybody's already said everything that needs to be said. But I do love being the 8th and final speaker in this batting lineup because nobody expects me to produce a hit. And everyone's happy because the endless list of speakers is almost over. A couple of speakers have mentioned the 21st century education. And as we get ready to close the 12th year of the 21st century, today North Reading begins its march toward the opening of 2 schools that are built for this 21st century education. For many out there, it seems like today is we're at the starting line. But for a lot of others, we've already run a couple of marathons to get to this position. And I think we have at least 1.5, if not 2 more to go before we get to the real finish line. But it's exciting and rewarding to be part of this celebration, to know that 2 years from today, our new high school will open, and that in 3 years, we'll see an extensively renovated and new middle school. And Mr. Bowers, a resident design and engineering expert on the school committee, informs me that we basically are sitting in the gym. I think there's a health classroom over there, I believe. Some special gym or something for wrestling and cheerleading is, I think, over there somewhere. So try to picture that in your mind as you listen to the last of my mind-numbing words. So what's the 21st century education and why is it important for the kids of North Reading? And how will these new buildings aid our teachers and staff who already do a tremendous job preparing our children for the future? Well, simply put, the 21st century education fuses the 3 R's with what's being called the 4 C's. Most of the adults out there know what the 3 R's are. I don't know if the kids know what the 3 R's are. But the 4 C's are probably new to you. They're critical thinking and problem solving, communications, collaboration, and creativity and innovation. And the 21st century education also focuses on life and career skills and information and media technology skills. All of these are critical for our kids as we move forward in this century. So in short, our goal is to prepare our students to be successful in the jobs and careers of today, but more importantly, the jobs of tomorrow, many of which are still to be created and defined. So when you think about it, we're educating kids to take jobs and positions that we don't even know what they'll be. So it's difficult. As I said, the North Reading staff and teachers already teach 21st century skills, but we're limited in what we can do by the middle and high school facilities. The new buildings will change that. The new science and technology resources will give our teachers an advantage when it comes to teaching information, media, and technology skills, while a new performing arts center, as well as new spaces for the band and chorus, will go a long way toward meeting the creativity and innovation needs. Finally, group spaces that will allow classes and teachers to work together will enhance the ability to instill in our students excellent collaboration and communication skills. So we stand here today with a dozen students ready to put those first shovels in the ground. And this might be a little counterintuitive, given that we voted to increase our taxes, but it almost seems to me like North Reading has won the lottery. Because soon we'll combine our outstanding teachers and staff with state-of-the-art facilities to provide our students with the education they need to succeed in the 21st century. So thank you all for coming today, and thanks to all who helped make this reality. Now let's break some ground.
Thank you. And as Mr. Webster said, now is the time for why we all arrived here this morning. So I'm going to ask, could Principal John Bernard and Principal Kathy O'Connell come forward, please, to help with the dissemination of the hard hats and the shovels. And what I'm going to do is call out the names of each of the students that will be breaking ground this morning. When I call your name, could you please come forward and receive your hard hat, and yes, put it on, and grab a shovel. We're going to line up on the dirt where you'll actually be able to put your shovel into the dirt. This will be a wonderful photo opportunity. Once we finish with the groundbreaking, we'll come back for a few closing words, and then we'll be off to some refreshments. So let's begin. I'd like to invite Michael Bitto, senior at the high school, to come forward. Matthew Layton, grade 11. Madison Capizzuto, grade 11. Matthew Stead, grade 10. Nicholas O'Connell, grade 9. Jason Glenn, grade 9. Ryan DiNapoli, grade 8. Juliana McAdams, grade 7. Abigail Johnson, grade 6. Representing the Little School, Laura Buscemi, grade 5. Representing the Hood School, Maddie DiNapoli, grade 3. And last but not least, representing the Batchelder School from grade 1, Jack Cronin. Here's Jack.
Kathy.
Yes.
Excuse me, Kathy O'Connell.
Oh, Kathy O'Connell. Yeah. This man is how to arrange everyone.
It's a little chilly. Why?
All right. Just squeeze a little closer. We're going to get really tight.
Yeah, I did a couple of them.
And then as you can see, let's see. Yeah. Boy, students are taller than the rest of us. Come closer, everybody. Come closer. Come closer. Yeah.
Up in the water.
That's right, you're very good, pretty good.
All right.
I'm gonna step in front of you guys.
I've done this before, so let me suggest everybody get some dirt on this shovel, but don't throw it. Okay. Yeah.
Look up!
That's a good one when they're all smiling. Come on, Matthew.
So then just hold the shovels up. Hold them up. Hold the shovels up. And then look, everybody face up so these people can take your picture. Look up. If your parent is out there, look directly at them. And so on the count of 3, we're just going to throw the soil a little. Okay, so it's ready? 1, 2, 3.
Now.
Everybody get their shot, or do you want to do it again?
What's more?
All right, so get some more dirt.
Gonna change you on a jacket.
Try to remember when you throw to look up. We'll do that on 3. So don't look at the shovel. Look out there when you throw this stuff. Okay? Ready? Don't put that down a little. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Go.
Oh, look at Kurt going right through the air. What's going?
Ace photo.
Good? We all set?
Good, thanks.
Good? Okay. All right.
Good job, guys. Good job.
So we're going to wrap this up now. I would just like to thank the planning committee for this morning's event. I'd like to thank high school principal John Bernard, middle school principal Kathy O'Connell, my administrative assistant Ann Lundell, secondary school building member Janine Imbriano, and supervisor of building and grounds Wayne Hardacre. I too would like to recognize the companies that we have been working with and will continue to work with on this very important project, and that are our architects, Doran Whittier, our construction manager, Gilbane Building Company, and our owner's project manager, PA Construction Services. It's been a pleasure working with them, and I look forward to our continued partnership over the next 3 years. Again, I would like to thank Dr. David Troughton and Dr. Keith Manville. They truly have been leaders and mentors for me in this building project. I would be remiss if I did not thank all of those individuals who spent countless hours working for Invest in North Reading, Jeff Simons, Marcy Bailey, and all of the individuals, Deanna Castro, too many to name, but thank you so much. This wouldn't be possible without all of your volunteering. Finally, I thank the citizens of North Reading. Through your commitment and support, you have made our hopes and dreams a reality for the future. And you have done this for our current generation of students and for generations to come. And for this, we are forever grateful. So that concludes our ceremony. We have hot cider and donuts in the middle school cafeteria. If you go through the fence on my left, you'll get to the donuts and cider. You better hurry, the students are off. Thank you.